Ancestors, we stand in need of sacred unions. We pray for sacred unions with ourselves, with you, with Creator, and with our mates. We are looking to attract and establish harmonious, healthy relationships, joyous oneness with our life partner. Ancestors, help us to identify and release old hurt feelings, resentments, and hostilities that are trapped within our body temples. Help us to have the vision, strength, and courage to learn from all of our past and present relationships, as they are all reflections of our own consciousness, each and every one. If by chance our intimate relationships do not change, may we remain undaunted and fearless. May we be the one to become the first link of change and transformation in our own lives, for all healing really begins within us. We affirm that each one of our intimate relationships, past or present, has value and has in some way prepared us to grow into a more conscious, sacred union with ourselves. As we reflect on the true purpose of sacred union, we give thanks to the divine masculine and feminine within us, and the divine masculine and feminine that unite to create sacred union, the life force from which all creation flows within us. Ashe. Sacred woman in the making, sacred woman reawaken, sacred spirit, hold us near, protect us from all harm and fear beneath the stones of life. Direct our steps in the right way as we journey through this vision. Sacred Spirit, surround us in your most absolute perfect light. Anoint us in your sacred purity, peace, and divine insight. Bless us, truly bless us as we share this sacred life. Teach us, Sacred Spirit, to be in tune with the universe. Teach us how to heal with the inner and outer elements of air, fire, water, and earth. Itepu. We will now do the Sacred Union meditation found on page 323 and 324 of your book. The color visualization of this gateway is blue for inner peace. That's a very beautiful way to think about what your sacred union should ultimately be about and bring up within you. That means that you can be visualizing this color. You can add a blue cloth to your altar, a blue ribbon to your mojo bag. Perhaps cover your head in a blue cloth while you sit before your altar, or as you go through your daily life for this month. This also means the sacred stone is hopefully blue, if you can. Lapis lazuli is the stone that Queen recommends, and she says it's the sacred healing stone of the gateway and helps to illuminate the mind. The light of this deep royal blue stone stimulates both love and beauty, and it builds a sense of unity in both men and women. This stone is known to have healing, curative, and purifying properties, unblocks the throat chakra area, and allows free expression so that sacred words from on high can come through. This stone represents the sixth arit, or energy center, which is between the brows, and it is the chakra that activates high spiritual mind. So that is the type of mindset we're looking to have for our sacred unions. We're looking to speak words of healing, words of wisdom with our partner and with our world, with ourselves. Make sure we're building that union within ourselves, with nature, with the Creator, with the ancestors, with our partners. So you can go ahead and prepare an herbal tonic to have prior to this or after this. For the gateway, she recommends lemon balm tea, which we talked about last time. And please settle into your space. We're going to do 300 fire breaths to start, and then we will be holding our sacred stone for Gateway 8 within our palm. Queen recommends meditating every day, and the longer you remain in meditation, the deeper your inner peace will be, the more solid your spirit will become, the cleaner your body temple, the sooner it will be able to live permanently in this state of peace and inner balance in a meditative state. So it does take practice to get into the meditative state. Let's start with 3 cleansing breaths before we begin our meditation, or our fire breaths. Your belly should go out when you breathe in and when you breathe out. Hold your sacred stone that you've chosen for Gateway 8 inside your palm. Visualize yourself sitting in the blue and white heart of the lotus blossom, unfazed by the adversity of the world, living and breathing in a balanced, beautiful, centered breath of ease and grace. As you sit in this blue and white heart of the lotus blossom, breathe into your heart center. With each breath, visualize your mother ancestors as they protect, nurture, and love you. Breathe, purge and flush out from the heart of the lotus, from the arms of Heru, from the blossom of Ast, your mother, all anguish, all mistrust, hurt, pain, fear, and resentment. In this space of protection and nurturing of your ancestors and spirit guides, flush these forces out of your heart and allow it to fill with compassion and love. In this moment, allow only love and compassion in your heart and leave no room for any other emotion. Now, visualize yourself and your mate standing together in a sphere of pure white light, hearts cleared of all pain and grief and anger, feeling a deep upwelling of love and joy and compassion for each other. Now place your palms over your healed heart and say, Sacred ancestors, bless us and bless our union. Feel free to do this meditation again with other healing stones such as rose quartz or amethyst or other stones that might call you specifically for your own union's needs or your own personal needs, or even using a yoni egg or a crystal lingam wand or or something else that is used in your more intimate settings, either with a partner or not. If you are looking to be really healing and attracting a sacred union, or healing the sacred union that you already have and cherish so much. So our Adinkra card for today is Nyat and Sapor, which is the wisdom knot, symbolizing wisdom, intelligence, and ingenuity. A wise person has the capacity to choose the best means to attain a goal. Very cool. I really like how the two pieces come together to connect to make this symbol. It says, wisdom, intelligence, ingenuity. Do not doubt your innate wisdom. You are capable. You know exactly what to do in this matter. You have the skill to choose the best option. Additional meanings for the symbol: you are wise. The answer is within you. Be confident in your abilities. That's a really good one to maybe draw on your arm or your hand before a test or something that's coming up, to give yourself that inner confidence, remembering that you do know this and that you can do this. So what a beautiful symbol this one is, Nyat and Sapor. And you can get these Adinker cards at adinkerliving.com. Our study of the 42 laws of Mott this week is, I will not blaspheme the gods or inter spirit guides. It may be written differently depending on where you read this one. So I will not blaspheme. I think that one is such an important one, because I think it's important to make sure that you're speaking strength, speaking wisdom, speaking faith, right? It's a very important thing. So today for our chop break, one, I'm gonna be playing this intriguing fantasy instrumental that I was playing some of this person's stuff for our prayer and meditation. But I was like, actually, this is really nice. I think I should have used this one for the meditation now that I'm like listening to it. It's a little calmer. Anyway, you learn, you win some and you lose some, but you live to see another day. So, I am going to be, for our chop break today, reading for you out of this book called Mandala by, maybe it's called Mandala Shambhala, I don't know, by the Arguelles couple. There's like two of them. There's a couple. Arguelles. I don't know if you can get this book. I got this randomly from the Santa Cruz Library, when they had like a store in the mall where they were selling like their excess books for like $1 each. So that's how I ended up with this. And it turned out to be, I was just kind of like intrigued with like the concept of mandalas, and I really liked that there were lots of pictures, and it seemed like it would explain some stuff to me, which it did. It did go into, a lot of the details about mandalas that we don't usually hear about, and it does go like a little too deep sometimes, in my opinion, for the average person, to completely understand, which is why I'm giving you fair warning. We're about to go off into the deep boonies of metaphysics, or I don't even know what you call all this, but I actually really enjoy this portion. I don't know, this book is kind of sexy to me. I'm like, this couple, basically, they were born in the late 30s, early 40s, and they just kind of traveled and did art together, and this is one of the amalgamations of this communal art that they did together. And they have a lot of mandalas, and they talk a lot about mandalas in this book, and like use of them and the history of them and how you can see them all over the world in different ways. But they have this one in the end, towards the end, where they both did one for the opposite sex. So Jose did Radiant Woman and Miriam did Radiant Man. This is Radiant Man. This one's Radiant Woman. So let's see. So as you can see, there's a shit ton of stuff going on here. We got like just, mandalas into mandalas built off of other things. I like how he put the little hands praising the woman on the bottom here. That's always a nice touch. He was feeling his wife there, you know. So anyways, I thought this would be a good one to read because if you are in a radiant woman, you're into radiant women. You are a radiant man, you're into radiant men. Uh, this might be a really beautiful thing to read. So they do this part here in the beginning. They kind of go into like what. But you probably can't read none of this. But they go into like what all of this is. They're like, and then the star here means that. We're not doing all that. Okay, they did all that. They were like, and then there's the star flower as a circle of suns, and then it's all symbolic. It's beautiful. Okay, so we're gonna skip past that, and we're gonna get to the section they called Radiant Man and Radiant Woman, and yeah, we'll just see how that takes us, because I usually we'll see how this goes. We'll see how this shit goes. All right, so this is fair warning. This is my first chop of the day. So it may take me to places I don't even know. I feel like my silhouette today is like I'm trying to be like 50s. Like I feel like my shorts are like look like how 50s swimsuits look. Like I'm trying to be like, welcome to the 50s. Actually, it was 60s, that song, but it's a 50s silhouette is what I'm vibing here. I feel like I'm Marilyn Monroe's. You know that picture of her looking all like juicy in the white two-piece, or is it a one-piece? Why is my mind, not able to really say what it's thinking right now? All right, let me take this. And my water's filthy. Don't judge me. So only sometimes is it clean. Rarely. Ooh. Oh, and I just read something random. They said the period in which they collaborated upon the painting of Radiant Man, Radiant Woman was the length of Miriam's pregnancy. See what I mean? This couple is just sexy. Like, what are they doing? Like, you ever meet couples where you're just like, ooh, like, y'all are just kind of sexy. I feel like my husband and I do that to people sometimes, and we're just kind of like, please don't worry about my sex life. But, when it's other people, then you're kind of like, oh, this is just inciting all kinds of emotion within me. Look at you guys living your life, inspiring the rest of us with the residual energy. I do too much. Anyway. But this couple, I think they did a really good job. A really, really good job. So let's see. Sorry, I'm getting my tissue ready because I'm like still cleaning out, but I don't sound as nasally today, so thank goodness, right? I was like, it's really hard to do those meditation videos and you sound nasally and you just know it's fucking somebody's day up. At any rate, that's why I need a partner, y'all. I need somebody else to be helping me with this shit. So, we're on page 122 if you happen to have this random book. Radiant Man and Radiant Woman. Self-renewed and recreated as a family, we found the strength to return to our individual centers only to see their reflections of each other. To say that I am only woman, yin, or I am only man, yang, is an illusion. And this is why I really like this part too, because I feel like they don't totally ascribe to gender norms as hard as Queen at times does. Because, like I've said, you have to read through Sacred Woman with the eyes of a fourth wave feminist, of a 2019, womanist, to get the full effect of what you should be getting for this time, right? And so it's nice when people are, kind of already touching on that kind of thing, because it's true. We do have the masculine and the feminine within us. Our partner will have that too, and if they don't have that balance, if we don't have that balance, and we're just so rejecting of all the other stuff, that does throw us out of balance and affects our relationships. All phenomena in the universe are an admixture of these two aspects of the unifying principle of each thing, and each thing is ultimately a projection of this unity. Radiant Woman, agent of the yin principle, was executed by the man, and Radiant Man by the woman. For each of us, it was an exercise in projecting the qualities supposedly opposite to our respective gender. We worked together on these paintings for almost a year, and through this process, gained a deeper appreciation in the universal yin yang nature. So I do think I could see that with these images, especially like the first thing I noticed was how bold her use of colors were, and then how like light and frilly he kind of like, not even frilly, it's like, but there is like an essence of frills around it that makes her just seem like even the tiniest of details are very curved and soft. And so it's interesting, like the perspective of what the other gets to do, especially in her opinion, masculine being allowed to be more bold, and his feminine allowed to, be more like frilled and I don't know, almost like accessorized in a sense. Like with all this stuff coming off, it's just like the way he sees our energy kind of folding off, whereas she sees it just as like this radiance that's just there solidly. It's very interesting how they kind of tried to embrace those things which their own gender it's supposedly opposite to. So we worked together on these paintings and tried to gain a deeper appreciation of the universal yin yang nature. Okay, so to understand woman, the characteristic most descriptive of yin must be meditated upon, receptive devotion, but only as it is an attribute of the unifying principle. Likewise, with yang, whose chief characteristics is an all pervading initiatory power. So she's saying the woman's characteristics is usually. A unifying principle, receptive devotion, and the yang is an all pervading initiatory power. These qualities are necessary complements of each other. A man denying himself the quality of receptive devotion is an arrogant tyrant. A woman denying herself the energy of the initiatory power is a barren vessel. The unifying power, Tao, the universal law, is both. Where can the power initiated by the primal source go if not in the vessel of receptive devotion? And what can this receptive element receive if not the divine energy of the initiatory power? If the paintings of radiant man and woman, devotion is signified by the hands raised above the head. Alpha and Omega are in the hands of the man, in the woman, the nuclear signs of creation itself. The Alpha and Omega hands of devotion beneath radiant woman display the reverence which man must give to the elements which bear and nourishes him. All of the creation praises the Creator in as many ways as there are forms and ways of being. Each creature in its very essence is an act of praise, and the natural outlet of praise is devotion. Within every man there is a woman receiving. Within every woman there is a man who gives boundlessly. The conscious realization of the dynamic coexistence of the two elements within an individual gives rise to an aura of radiant beauty and joy. In radiant woman, the aura literally bursts forth. In man, it is more subdued. Woman, the receptive, carried on a bed of outstretched serpent forms, opens her bounties to the light. Man, the initiator, stands firm in the night. The inner ring of the woman's aura is a cycle of moons in a band of fire. Man emits the mirrored aura in which all things are clearly distinguished. At the feet of the woman is the pool of the Tao from which rises and into which descends a lotus ladder. In the limbs of these radiant beings are the intertwined forms of organic extension, mingled with script and hieroglyphs of astral sight. It is not the eye alone that sees. It is not the mind alone that perceives. Everywhere is written the language of creation, and it takes only the eyes of devotion to read it. Alright, hold on a second. We're not reading it all. Alright, so as you can see, they're talking about not necessarily strictly like this is the blueprint of how a man is, this is the blueprint of how a woman is, but rather they've mapped out the ways in which their auras and the ways in which their own inner balance balances with their partner to create this sacred union where they both kind of fill in each other's gaps and step in and work on things that need to be worked on, and that it's kind of created this ability to meld into um, two who are so intertwined, so that their opposites are actually a benefit, where they are opposite, right? Or and then sometimes it is that they are kind of one and the same but in a different way. So just to finish off, we'll do the end of this page to the end of this page, and then we'll finish. Above the root center is the chakra of generation. In man, the sexual energy is transmuted into a spiraling structure, conducting energy to the next level of operation. On either side of the female center is an image of the earth, planet of duality, born in the dark matrices of space. The third center is the primal egoic energy. In man, the mirror aura, symbolic of the transmutation of the three lower energy centers, encompasses the realm of the root, generative, and primal egoic chakras. These are the most active centers of the physical sensory man, without whose transformation the higher or inner self cannot be developed. In radiant woman, the primal egoic center is the actual center of the radiant auras, symbolic of the fact that it is through the individual alone that transformation is possible. Through the heart center pours the energy of selfless love, compassion. This chakra is a corresponding development and fulfillment of the second center, the chakra of generation, just as the egoic center is a fulfillment of the root center. The actualization of the heart center marks the beginning of the development of an independent inner organism based in the truth of selflessness. The fifth center, corresponding on the physical plane to voice and throat, is the chakra of the prophets, the center from which emanates the divine word. In the woman, this center contains the Tibetan mantra hum, the sound of integration. Because the fifth center is the corresponding development of the egoic center from a state of exclusive self-involvement to one of expansion and integrative inclusion with all beings and creatures, it is the vibratory source of all embracing wisdom. Above the chakra of the prophets is the sixth center, which sums up the development of the five preceding stages and which transcends them, including itself. This is the center of the energy of mind, of all-seeing wisdom, corresponding of the physical plane to the head or thinking center. In radiant man, the head or face is an abstract mask, timeless and ageless, in which the concentrating great potential of energy, its aura of splendor, in which are the concentrated great potentials of energy, its aura of splendor, like the sun, gestating in the eye of light. Because she is the specific quality of the Creator, the mask of radiant woman is humanly recognizable, though no less radiant and full of light. She wears the tiara of the holy sound, whose tone fills the expanse of her aura. The space between the upraised hands of both figures is the void shining. The hands themselves reach into the realms beyond. Man is neither a beginning nor an end. Maybe move the light. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that little tidbit from a couple with a sacred union. And I'll see if I have anything else like that. I don't really have many things, too many things, but we'll see. We'll see what I can find in my little book collection. Yes. So anyways, I hope you had a chop as well, and so that you were high enough that that made a lot of sense to you. Hello, welcome. Oh look, wait, you can't even see it. I need to put on the light. No, my light's not even plugged in. Unplug the light. I pulled out this outfit because it's like fall now ish. It's a little windy. And I was like, oh, it's time for the French jumpsuit. Bringing it back. Oh, here. I always like to wear this one, but then I never do. So I was like, it's been a few months. Let's bring it out. But it's hard to wear in the summer because it's a little too hot. And then in the winter, you have to like cover the shoulders a lot. But, yeah. Anyway. This is like my first like $100 purchase item. I was like, you know what? I'm doing it. And so then I usually just try and save up. But now I need to figure out a more practical wardrobe. Sometimes my wardrobe is like a little too much. Alright, so I wanted to talk to you all about I don't know, I don't remember. Sorry, my nose is still a little out there. I don't remember if I talked about Afua and henna and using it on your body to um, have a more intimate ritual with your partner, as well as to use on yourself to have a better union with yourself, as well as to use for things like mate visualization, which we will be talking about later in this chapter. On I think it's one of the first things we talk about actually. So we will be on page 331. She has a lot of meditations on this page. And so just she has the heart release visualization, she has breathing in divine help, and we're going to be skipping that, and we're also going to be skipping men are seeking a divine mate too, because yeah, you can read that though if you're interested in that. Go ahead and get the book. And then we're going to go ahead, like I said, page 331. But like I was saying, like if you use all of the those symbols, like the Adinkra symbols that we've been studying, if you use affirmations, or you could just write what you want. You could use symbols that mean something to you, sigils and symbols that you've made for this purpose. But I did want to state the power of writing something down, of saying it out loud, of wearing it on your sleeve, of thinking of it every time you see it on your body, on your arm, on your hand, thinking about it, putting more energy towards it, putting it out there. Especially if like I said, if you're trying to heal a relationship you have, enhance a relationship you have, or get the union that you're trying to get, right? So we're trying to enhance our unions, we're trying to focus on our unions. This is the time to focus on that partnership. And if you have a partner, you don't have to tell them about it. You could just put this effort into your union and see what may come of it without you saying a word to them. But you can still say a word in prayer or out loud in affirmation. So, let's see. The Het Haru Venus Day Love Ritual. Visualizing your mate to be. Alright, now that I'm done showing off my outfit, I'm turning this off. It's too bright, y'all. It's too early. I was enjoying the gray of the outside. So the light was bothering me. Alright. Okay, I'm gonna go check on my kids. Alright, so Queen says, do your spiritual love rituals on Friday, which is Venus Day. Sorry, you guys are hella tilted today, but that's just how it's gonna be. Alright. So on Fridays, that sounds nice. But also, just do it. If you feel right whenever you're watching this right now, if it's a Monday, if it's a, Wednesday, if it's Saturday, and you feel inspired to get up. I don't know, just felt, oh, my room is like, how like your room always just kind of, I don't know, you if you know. But you know how there's like people just if feel like if you're a parent, I feel like this happened to my parents. Your room just kind of becomes a place where things go sometimes, and I'm like trying to break that habit, but at the same time, I'm really proud of myself that I like cleaned as much as I did out there. So like the other parts of my house are looking all pristine and sparkling lately, and then my room has like a pile of my laundry, mine. The only person who I did not folds clothes, me. And then everything else, just things. It's just, you can't even describe it. It's just a smorgasbord of items. Anyways, something like that just fell. I don't even know. Oh, my space. I need to make it. I need to clean up in here. I need to spread that cleansing to my own space, my personal space, my husband's space, and my union space. Oh my goodness, I'm fucking up. Fucking up. All right. So, anyways, my point was, do this whenever you feel called, whenever it happens, when you feel that urge of inspiration, or maybe even better yet, they say, you have that 5-second window after you have a thought to just stand up and do it, or else who knows when the fuck you'll do it. Then I think that's maybe a good rule. When some of these things just pop in your mind, stand up and do it. And hopefully, if your space is sacred enough, and everything is put in its space, and it will be easy, right? When everything's in its space, then and you want to take a spiritual bath, it's just like bada bing, bada boom, bada baby back ribs, right? It's so easy. But then when you don't, when it's not put together, it's the most overwhelming experience to just put together the most basic of recipes. So anyways, that was my spiel. Always just try and do it. Don't just get caught up on the days. But if you are at a point in your life where you can be doing shit on a specific day of the week, in specific clothes, under specific moods, you know what I mean? And then yes, you should be applying those extra levels. But always remember, it's just like, when you watch the yoga video and she's like doing, she was doing stuff you could do, and then now suddenly she's not doing stuff you could do no more. So you have to like dumb it down for yourself. Or is that what it's called? Basic it down, beginner, become a beginner. You have to do it for yourself, because physically you're just going to be flopping all over the place, and your yoga experience is no longer going to be peaceful. So you have to just push yourself the best you can, but no, you're not going to be doing that. She just popped into a headstand and like flipped over and is like, now we're stretching the pelvis. You're not there. And so it's the same here with like Queen. We have to remember we're not always like right at this like upper level. She's giving us the most like detailed of as a ritual could get in a book, but we have to remember where we are in our space, with the materials we have, with the opportunities we have. For example, if you have kids, if you have even a partner, if you have like anyone else, somebody who's dependent in something that's dependent, it can throw off your whole schedule. The chances that you can always do shit on a Friday is going to be slim. And because we're only doing this for a month, it's like you only have so many Fridays to get that right. So I want you to focus on like doing stuff, but also keep in mind, like, you can put that in the back of your mind that like Friday is a good day for love work, right? That's like Just want to put that out there because I know it's like sometimes this book is very dense. Actually, it's all the book is always dense, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. That's what I mean to say. So, anyways, Friday, Venus Day, love, beautiful. So that's a great day to do love work. It's a great day to focus on love. It's a great day to put that effort out there, right? Do a 24-hour fast on fruits and or fresh fruit juices and red fruits, cranberries, grapes, blackberries, apples, berries, cherries to draw out spiritual sweetness. Also, everything she just named there draws out punani sweetness. She names that in a totally different part of the book. So, like those red things, those juicy things, um, if you're, about to go on a hot date or something like that, might behoove you to, drink all of these really sweet, delicious. Make it really like dense though. Like you're not trying to make yourself hungry. You're not trying to like hurt yourself. Put some denseness in there. Put some like I don't know, like some powders, some red vegetable, I don't know, some beet powder maybe. I don't know. Keep the red going, but still have something in there that's like giving it. And then also I was gonna say with like juice, like it might be like helpful to for your smoothies to like juice vegetables and then add those juices to your smoothies. So it's like a double whammy because I know sometimes people do either or, but it's like if you have a juicer, that's really helpful. And then adding like I said, juices, smoothies to your smoothies, like it can be helpful, especially because the store smoothies are usually so watery compared to home smoothies. I guess except for like Jamba Juice. But anyway, I digress. But oh, and that reminds me, for things like a 24-hour fast on fruits and or fresh fruit juices. So that means you can be eating whole fruits. Never underestimate the power of eating your food whole. Just eat it whole. You know what I mean? It's a really simple, and then also mixing the two up, making yourself like a smoothie bowl, chopping up all the vegetables, all the fruits in there, granola in there, throwing some seeds in there. Um, Let me think. I don't know, like putting put some powders, some vanilla in there. Like make it thick, make it hearty. Enjoy yourself, but also let it be sweet. Let it like indulge yourself. Let it like indulge your senses. And I think that is also kind of part of it, right? Because fruit helps you feel kind of decadent. I feel like especially when you're eating. I don't know. Maybe I was just like I'm thinking of like Yo Plate commercials when I grew up. But you remember those commercials back in the 2000s, early 2000s, where like it's like like I feel like a bunch of yogurt commercials did this to varying degrees of like levels of sophistication, but it was like what is this woman in her house gonna treat herself with? And then she'd like be like, yes, yogurt. And so now like when I eat smoothie bowls and things, I feel like I'm channeling that, I'm channeling that Dove woman who's like, oh, that little piece of chocolate. Oh yeah, I'm a woman and so I can just nibble things. And so yeah, now when I like eat things in like a bowl by myself, I'm just like, ooh, yeah. I'm a woman and I eat by myself, if that's what it feels like I am. Anyways, I didn't make that connection until just now that it was like probably just yogurt commercials. But that's what it feels like. You're just like indulging yourself. It feels so good. Except it's way better than just eating a tiny, pathetic, watery Yo Plate yogurt. Yo Plate yogurt, it's not what they said it was. But I still ate it as a kid dutifully because not because of the commercials for that, but because I would save the pink lids, which turned out to be a scam. Go figure. Buying a $3 yogurt to earn 10 cents for the Susan G. Komen Foundation turned out to be a scam. But okay, I was like 9. I just wanted to help the world. I just wanted to help. Anyways, no, I was actually younger than that. That was like the late 90s or something. I don't know. The home I remember living in, I feel like I must have been younger, but who knows. Anyways, my point is, I really wanted to help, but a lot of those things are scam. Yoplait scammed me into eating their watery yogurt for years. Years at a time. She also says drink nutmeg or cinnamon tea. Ah, I love spiced teas. I love it when it's like warm and toasty. See, like, do you know what she's doing here to your senses when she's asking you to eat these things? And then this is what I mean by Queen like understands root work and hoodoo so well. This is such a good, I mean, she does get a little Hotepians of times. That's not even talking about the Egyptian gods, she does. She does have, some old fashioned and antiquated views throughout this book. However, you're going to find that everywhere in anything written by older black people, to be kind of frank. Even when and I highly encourage reading, what is it called? The National Archive, the slave narratives, because what this was in the 30s that they were going around asking people, talking to people, and so a lot of these people, they'd had experience from the first part of that century, and then as well the slavery portion, the freedom portion before Jim Crow, and then the slavery portion from prior to that. So they experienced a lot of different cultural norms within the black community, and they kind of reference hoodoo throughout that very casually. And so and that's why I really encourage people to read it, because it's like, yes, there's so much trauma and pain, but then it's like you also see all of this resourcefulness, this eating certain foods to feel a certain way to get a certain thing done. And I think that's really prevalent throughout all of our history, this really beautiful resourcefulness, this really beautiful use of common materials to get an uncommon thing accomplished. So when she's talking about, eating these foods and drinking these certain spices, you're evoking certain senses. And like I feel when I think about drinking like those cinnamon teas, those nutmeg teas, and let me think, cardamom. When I think about those things, I think about like that warmth, that cozy feeling. That feeling that they try and make you feel around the holiday season when you have like family and you think about people in front of a warm fire at winter, you know, holding each other. The thing keeps falling, whatever it is. It just keeps going down. Anyway, um, but yeah, it makes you feel that like warm feeling of like, a romance novel cuddling in front of like a fire at the cabin, and eating fruits. I don't know why there'd be fruits there, but anyways, there'd be some kind of fresh delicious something going on, some pies in the oven. I don't know. This is making me feel like, all sorts of beautiful things. And so that's really what she's trying to evoke within you here with this visualization. She asks you to wear soft pink and a white garment, or white garments, or a scarf. You can wear rose quartz necklace, earrings, and of course waist beads. Um, and putting love quartz on your waist beads, right? Putting love quartz on different things around you to kind of facilitate this energy around you. Her love bath recipe here is a 1 gallon of rainwater or distilled water. So we're getting upon rainwater season. I'm hoping I could get some rainwater this season. Actually, it's like super cloudy and overcast today. So I'm keeping my eye out for the first rain of the season, y'all. I'm like trying to get my bowls ready. I'm unsure what's gonna happen, but I'm really hoping for the first rain of fall to bless me and put something in my bowl, but I doubt it will be a gallon here in California. Anyways, a gallon of rainwater or distilled water. She says blend 12 ounces of rose water, 1 bottle of Florida water, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1 teaspoon of raw honey. Blend that all together, mix it, let it all get together, and then let it sit overnight. She says you pour this into the bath water the following day in the early morning. She's urging you to get up between the hours of 4 and 6 a.m. Rise to meditate during the holy hours of 4 to 6 a.m. as you visualize your mate coming into your life. Repeat this affirmation. Only sweetness comes from my lips on this holy day. Put a pink cloth in a vase of fresh roses on your altar. Burn jasmine, rose, or cinnamon incense in the morning or evening. So if you are using the Womb Mojo bag for your altar right now, you can just tie a pink ribbon to that. If you have an altar, this is a beautiful time, a beautiful thing to ask your ancestors for help with. So you can feel free to put that on your actual altar too. And then a vase of fresh flowers, pink flowers, red flowers, something very romantic, hopefully roses, but do what you can. And again with that, I want to say, like, do what you can, but if you can do something better, do better. You know what I'm saying? Do to the best of your abilities at this time. But don't let yourself become like stagnant or give yourself some kind of low bar, like, oh yeah, there's some like daisies over there, let me just go pick those, when you know damn well you can get roses. Do right by yourself and your spirits. All right. So burn jasmine, rose, or cinnamon incense in the mornings and evenings. I think it's really nice to burn that in the mornings so that it just sets the mood for the whole day. It's kind of, the scent is in the back of your mind. When you come back home, the scent will be kind of lingering, and because you've been outside, it will still be something that you could smell, right? Because you took a step outside and breathed the rest of the world. And then also with her saying cinnamon, you know how I am about cinnamon sticks. Yes, burn a cinnamon stick. If you don't have a special cinnamon incense or special rose concoction or whatever, you can't go out and do all that. Just burn the cinnamon stick, and that too will make that beautiful scent throughout the day, and be something you return to. And when you return to it and you smell it again, you remember again, you think about it again. Why do I think I heard knocking? But I feel like it's my kids playing games with me. I don't know. Alright, so she said, create your ideal mate on this day by using active visualization. Have faith in yourself and the power of the Divine Spirit to provide you with the sacred mate you deserve. Have faith. Believe it is done. Believe it is happening for you. You have to have this faith, right? So pretend I'm still dressed in my beautiful fringe outfit that I put on special to make a video for you yesterday. But my husband's friends are annoying, and they sometimes stop by unannounced. So I was I was all excited about the outfit, and now I'm all mad that I'm like, what happened? Anyway, so we were on having faith. Have faith. I think that is like a big thing that a lot of people struggle with. It's difficult when you're converting, right? Because you feel like there's a form of betrayal going on, even though the Christian or Abrahamic churches or patriarchal churches have betrayed you so many times. There's still a sense of betrayal sometimes when you're moving on, or there's still a sense of doubt when you are finding something that feels right, but you've kind of maybe felt that before and you didn't understand. And so it's like, how can I trust myself this time? And so I do think that faith is something a lot of people struggle with. Having faith in your ancestors, having faith in your abilities to work roots, in your abilities to connect with the ancestors, in the fact that they're listening, in what's happening in your life, right? I saw a beautiful post the other day that was talking about how we've been trained to see, excuse my sniffles, to see ancestral guidance and ancestral spiritual touch into our lives as coincidence, or as just like things falling into place. And I was thinking how profound that is, because we are so quick to dismiss those everyday ways that the ancestors infuse into our lives and change things in our lives, and how it can really all build up and come together to be something so beautiful, and to just dismiss that as a coincidence. It is a very Western way of thought, and it takes away from the way in which root work really infuses its way into our everyday lives, and the way the ancestors, can infuse themselves. Therefore, when you're spreading that spiritual touch to every object in your home, every thought, every word, and then watching that, come together. I don't know. It's just, there is a certain element of faith. Was just my point. I don't want to get too far into talking about, infusing into our lives and stuff. But at the end of the day, there is an element of faith that needs to, start to be there. Faith in yourself. And sometimes, it will just be practicing feeling it for just a few moments, practicing feeling it for just a few minutes, feeling that trust in yourself, trust in your ancestors, trust in it happening, feeling as though it's already happened, feeling as though it's already yours. The second you stand up, like for me, when I stand up for my root work, from whatever it is I've done, I feel like it's done. It is done. I just have to wait for it. I'll have to look out for it. I have to be open-minded to what it could be or how it may manifest itself, but I believe it to be done. I believe it to be finished. And I feel like that wave of like, it's there. I feel that protection. And so that's definitely a feeling that, it may take practice to gain, but I do think it's so important to have faith in the power of the divine spirits, and faith in yourself as well. So, finally, dedicating this love ritual to yourself will draw love to you on every level of life, from mother to daughter, father to daughter, sister to sister, man to woman, love of work, love of self. If you do the love work, love will permeate everyone and everything around you. And so I do think that is also part of turning your magic all the way on, is having that genuine love for, nature, genuine love for the world around you, and that love exuding off of you does bring love back in so many ways. And so I think, operating from that place of love is a part of, peace. And that's not to say that there is, like, love is always the answer or whatever, and that, you need to put yourself out there to be hurt. But operating always from a place of love, you know, and following through with that, I think, is a really important part of being a sacred woman, because sometimes, love is letting go, but it does always need to come from a genuine place of love within yourself, having that as a genuine part of your aura, because that's a lot of why I do this, is because I came to that place of genuine love. Like, I always had a genuine love for Black women, but I feel like I then had a genuine love that really, enabled me to come to a place in my mind of wanting to serve in a way that I could, right? And it took a long time to even find a way that I could. So there's that. But It's like I've only just started to come to a place where I feel like, I have things to offer in a way, which is strange, I guess, because, you know, I don't know, maybe I just don't talk about it as much, but I definitely feel like there was a time, like especially in my early 20s, where I was like, I would try and write stuff, and like I feel like, looking back on it, I'm like, oh, like I was just measuring myself up to people who were writing in like their 50s. There's just no way I was gonna measure up to that. But I, like, I was read some of the stuff I wrote, and I told myself, I was like, girl, you just need to shut up. Like, you just need to shut up for like maybe 10 years and get some life experience. Literally, that's what I told myself, and I literally listened to that advice. I stopped writing for a long time, um, just so I could get some life experience. And like, finally, I feel like I'm at a point where I do have life experience that can, you know, be integrated into stories and writing, and something to be shared with other people that's worth them reading, perhaps. So, yes, we're on page 332. Courting slow and steady. It is African tradition to maintain the sanctity, protection, and support of healthy unions, and to avoid the adverse results of women taking on partners without the full support of the family. I think we need to reclaim this ancient tradition in our lives in an appropriate way. She says her husband tells her the story quite often. For 5 years, my father traveled 50 miles from San Pedro de Macorís de la Romana in Santo Domingo to court my mother, and upon his weekly visit, my parents to be would sit under the observation of 10 or more members of her family, elders, sisters, brothers, all in the living room. Then 5 years later, my father was given permission to wed this beautiful sacred princess, Amancia Georges de Guerrero, the woman of his heart. All the time, he had to prove his love and commitment to his beloved through the test of time and patience. It was intense, but a precedent was set. From the time of his courtship to marriage, upon his transition from this earth, Father George had a deep respect, love, and appreciation for this divine, sacred woman, his wife. All right, so I think some of that was a little bit Hotepian, because we know that part of why there's so many family members there was because they were putting her virginity on a pedestal. However, I do think that there's value to this story, because it can be you who puts, whatever value on your body, on your needs. There is a standard that you can set for yourself, that it is perfectly fine if some people do not want. It's a damn shame sometimes. Sometimes they look real good and they're not down. They've got messed up conceptions about gold diggers, messed up conceptions about wombs, women, reproduction, gender roles, whatever. Sometimes it's a damn shame. Their mom didn't raise them right, but you gotta let it go because they don't hold up to your standards. So I do think that that story was valuable in the sense that if you have those standards, you make those standards, you uphold those standards, you stand by those standards, because they're not too much, like, I doubt it. I doubt whatever your standards are. If you were raised in America, I sincerely doubt that it's even gold digger status for real. Like this, they put the word gold digger on damn near everybody. You could have a couple $1,000,000, right? Janet Jackson had more money than, not more money, but she had decent money, and then she gets some money from some fool, and people are like, this gold digger, gold, gold digger. Like, what? He paid, you know what I mean? Don't get me started. At any rate, we get called gold digger literally for having the bare minimum of standards. Have those standards, because we, as sacred women, we need to be helping raise that bar. You know what I'm saying? Go forth and have some standards. Expect something from your future spouse. Figure out what it is you want. If that is that you want to be pursuing your career and want to be supported in that, if that is that you want to be taken care of, you want to be a kept woman, then that is your prerogative. Make it known and get somebody who respects that, for sure. So, the elder advice, check his background. Um, she said they are sitting around the kitchen table drinking herb tonic and fresh juices. What world does Queen live in? You know? It's like, damn. I want to be at the table with some elders drinking herbal tonic and fresh juices. An hour later, I served a vegetarian dinner fit for my elders. Check his background, said the elders, speaking from their collective 121 years of wisdom and life experience. They talked to my spiritual sister all night long, giving her advice in a wholesome, profound way. The advice she needed to hear to avoid those after the wedding blues. Don't be too quick to say I do, they told her. Check his background, his people, and his people's people before you take him on. That's such a good one. Observe him. See what he feels about the women in his life, past and present. Observe his actions with his mother, sisters, and even your sister friends. He might be your client, not necessarily your husband, said one of the elders. Don't confuse the two. I think that's a really important one, especially to always remember is, again, like having to take on people's family. It's necessary with marriage, right? It's necessary with that sacred union, that serious contract. But some people, it's just too much, and you might be sending yourself to the early grave. That's not even a joke. Like, some people, their families are, it's like when they have the racist families, when they have the, like, families that have, like, some super warped, like, off the deep end gender norms, like, work the women and the men all just sit with their pot bellies out, like, you know what I mean? It's a lot. And so, you really have to have an eye on what you're getting into. I remember, when I met my mother-in-law for the first time, I was actually, like, really grateful, because I was like, yo, she's, like, eccentric, but she's fun. Like, she's, like, a good person. And, like, so it was really cool being able to meet her. Well, I mean, like, there wasn't really much of anybody else to meet, but it was really cool being able to meet her, because she was such a, powerful presence. And so it was, it was heartwarming. It was endearing to be able to meet somebody who embodied a lot of the traits that I found, were things that I really respected. So, she says the elder went on to ask a number of very important questions to get clear advice. So, does he resent women or love and respect them? So yeah, fools who resent women, it's like, especially when it was like a long, long time ago, they were like, oh yeah, I learned my lesson in the 6th grade. And you're like, did you though? Did you really learn your lesson in the 6th grade? And we're here at 30, and that's what you're referencing? Like, yeah, that's resentful. That's like resentful for kind of no reason. And then it's also if they're resentful of everyone from their past. Nobody, it never ends well. It's always like, ends in a crazy shitstorm. Check records. It's super important to check the records. Have they ever been abusive to women through physical or, verbal means? And this type of thing is usually on record, especially if it happened chronically. You know what I mean? I guess, like, once or twice in people's lives, especially if it's like, because if both parties are, like, loud, like, sometimes shit happens. Sometimes the cops get involved when, like, stuff's not that serious. But, I mean, if it's still on the record, it's, there's reason to be wary. There's reason to be wary, Is incest interwoven in his family history or genes? Abuse is a really serious thing to make sure that both of you have worked through, right? We always talk about all this womb healing, healing from the trauma, healing from the abuse, how many Black women are abused, but Black men are also abused too. And so there is, and often by family, like often by older women in the family, there's like a huge issue with, like, a lot of people from ages 40 to 50 or so years old in the Black community, 40 to 60 years old, preying on children, and people turning a blind eye to it, right? It's not like the most rampant thing, but it's pretty rampant when you look at how many black girls are abused, and then also black guys are abused, but they don't say anything because they think it was some kind of conquest, some kind of, it was kind, it was some kind of gift, right? This abuse, that's what we train boys to believe. And so there is, issues that do need to be worked through. And then also, there's, there's a need to see their opinions on things, because sometimes people really are, um, you know, okay with certain incestual things and you don't even realize. And I'm going to give a quick example of that. Was recently with the Dave Chappelle thing. He like, most, I would say, 80% of it was your usual Dave Chappelle, but he did decide, to do the jokes about like things that were like, whoa. He alluded to it when he started with the cancel culture jokes. So you knew he was going to make some jokes about stuff that people get canceled for, obviously. So one of the parts though was about like pedophilia, and a lot of people were like laughing when he said certain things, and it's like, oh, that type of thing, like people laughing about children getting hurt, people laughing about pedophilia, people thinking that type of thing is okay, people who comment things like, well, she was being fast, and you're like, she was 15, she's a child. But and there is also an issue with people thinking like black kids like appear older than white kids, or less innocent than white kids. But at the same time, you do have to be wary for people who have that type of attitude, like because that will not only translate to your relationship, but any future kids that you guys end up, getting, having. Um, when your kid is 15 and your daughter is getting kicked out because she's, sexually active or something. And then really she was being abused or something like crazy, you know what I'm saying? But it's happened to more women my age than, I would like to admit, more women than, I would like to, yeah, I would like to even say, it's sad. It happens to a huge number of black women that they get kicked out at a very young age, teenage, because they are being interpreted as fast, as sexual competition, as, all these things, when really what's happening is people, sexualizing a child, or even abusing the child. So that these are all things that, we do have to keep an eye out and a thought out for, as we're helping to build the next generation in the community. So she also, the final one they have here, find out his previous relationships with women in his life, especially his mother. Does he have an active relationship with her? This will give you an idea of how you will be treated once doors are shut and the union settles in. So it is important to, I think, get information about his relationship with his mother, hopefully from somebody who's not him, so that they can give, kind of an honest, because you'll kind of catch from how they're talking about it, how genuine that relationship really was, and how everything really ended up going on. So remember to check him out closely before you take on a relationship, or them, should I say. I think I've been forgetting to say gender neutral for a lot of this. Sorry. Remember to check them out closely before you take on a relationship. And that's serious too, because domestic violence does occur against black women, even when they're dating other black women, or, any, gender identity. Violence can happen, and people can have history. You know what I'm saying? So it's best to look it up or look into it. There are some times when you can rely on the community, for insight on people's character in that way. So while you're checking them out, check yourself out. Are you carrying some tucked away hurts within you? These have to be healed first, otherwise you'll be acting out the real you, the hidden you, in your marriage. If needed, get help. Commit to cleansing yourself on the inner planes. Above all, do not rush into a union due to fear of being alone or the mistaken belief that this is your last chance. Go into the union with your whole self intact, knowing that what you give, you're supposed to get back. Reciprocity is part of the divine order. When your standards rise, there are certain things you will no longer stand for. Don't check things out against your ego alone. Invite your spirit to sit in as well. Also ask mentors and or elders, your honorable and balanced friends, extended family to assist you in this observation process. Always keep in mind that in the end, you can only attract a reflection of some part of you. So be sure to go within and clean up your negative thoughts, attitudes, habits, and patterns. Your observations and reflections need to be like a crystal or a diamond, brilliantly clear. Your future joy depends on it, right? So if you bypass all these steps, you kind of jump yourself into not having joy, right? It's better to take your time and really build into it than to just kind of like jump in and pray, like, oh, maybe it'll work, like, because chances are it probably won't, and that's like statistically speaking as well. Like I've learned recently that like 90% of relationships that start before your 30s don't last at all. So, I mean, statistically speaking, we would never, do that for pretty much anything else. So, taking that time to put in that effort, to put in that, to build that foundation, to understand that you do have options. It's not like you're ever your last chance. You always have the chance to have a beautiful, meaningful relationship. Um, it's really important. Let me see, where was I? I like just skipped all over the place. Oh, oh yeah. So you might want to present the following guide to courting a sacred woman to your possible husband to be. His response will tell you a great deal about your potential. So she has this guide right here. She says, I am a sacred woman. Don't just pluck me out of my family. It is not done that way traditionally. I have been specially trained and groomed for this role in life. Bring my gifts of flowers, precious oils, jewels, and sacred cloth. So first, I like that she says, "Don't just pluck me out of my family. It's not done that way traditionally." I like that it's thought of as you're being taken from where you're already kind of taken care of. So you should be taken with that same tender, loving care, correct? And so then she says, I've been specially trained and groomed for this role in life. So you have hopefully been doing things that, that as you prepared for other things, you've also kind of prepared for this sacred union. As you prepared yourself, you've also prepared yourself to love and care for and connect with another person. So you have been putting effort into this. This is something that you're taking seriously, and so you would like the other person to also take this seriously. Um, Bring me gifts of flowers, precious oils, jewels, and sacred cloth, right? We're setting our standard. We're saying, also that, when you think of beautiful, rich, luxurious things, like that's the type of stuff you should associate with me. You should think of me as something that you take care of, that you cherish. That's one of, the things that uh, you know, you chose specially to have in your life, right? Because it's something that you hold in high esteem. Um, Speak words of sweetness, play me music of heavenly sounds. We're asking for this to be maintained and for us to be able to be reminded of this love that you have. Handle me with loving care, just as you would a dove. I sit on my lotus throne, surrounded by my blood and extended family, by my spiritual teachers, my mentors, and elders. Come through them and ask for me. In their wisdom and concern, they will study you and observe me to see if we are to be together. So, I think that was, a really beautiful, simple way of, expressing your needs. And of course, can be altered to sound more like you. So then they also, let me see. Yeah, so our last part here is going to be to just read our love progress report. And then we'll do before the wedding, I think, next time. So we'll do that next time. So she says, what follows are two love progress reports, one for you, one for your mate. Yes? Okay, hold on. Sorry, potty training toddlers. Fill them out during your active meditation. Use this report to witness your own inner growth as reflected in your past and present choices of a mate. Remember, there are no mistakes. Everything happens for a reason. That's how we learn and grow within the confines of this earthly plane. Chart your growth with a light and open heart, unafraid of your reflections and observations. You may discover that your growth has progressively reached higher levels of consciousness, awareness of self, or you may find yourself in the depths of hell. Both states reveal to you lessons and insights about who you are, where you came from, and where you're going. Don't hold on to pain and get stuck. Be open and objective as you record the few or many men, past and present, in your life, or partners, should we say. Use the various teachings from your choice of mates as a way to move towards positive change, transformation, growth, and development. Before you begin charting yourself, take a very hot salt bath or herbal bath as you drink a glass of warm lemon water, the juice of 1 lemon to about 8 ounces of purified water. This simple process will help liquefy you, put you in the right mood for self-reflecting and healing work. This is best done between the hours of 4 and 6 a.m. so that you will be spiritually guided as you unfold from a deep, sacred place. Once you've completed your report, think about what you've told yourself. Observe and learn from your life patterns. See how you and your past experiences and present attitudes have created all of your love conditions. Once you've examined yourself, you can begin to purify by taking on the lifestyle of a sacred woman. Start breaking up those unhealthy patterns. Uproot and purge out any poisonous state. Face up to the part of you that's holding you back from your joy, that has locked up your love and squeezed the life out of your happiness. Fight for your sacredness. Discover who you are so that any inner imbalances you may have carried from one life to the next and from 1 year to the next will drain away. What do you... Okay. Release the spiritual cancer once and for all. This is not the real you. Let these emotional toxins ooze out of you. When the healing has taken place, you will be left whole and healthy and ready for your sacred union. Check your love progress report. You should be reaching for a complete union with yourself so that when you look outside of yourself, you will see bliss and oneness showing up in your divine mate. If it is meant to be, even a dead union will come alive when you begin to purify. A word to the wise: fast, fast, and fast again, until they arrive. Rest assured they will arrive. Also know that they will reflect the true you, the one who is divine and pure in every day, because within you, there they are, and the one who lives within is the true you. Alright, so the progress report. Serve this love progress report to your prospective mate to evaluate their previous condition, which may very well lead up to their present state. This chart, when honestly completed, gives both of you clarity. And it offers pictures of what is happening individually and collectively in your union. As a result, it reveals ways to build a healthier union. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different states here to fill in. The relationship status, indicate your relationship status: mate, husband, wife, intimate friend, long-term partner. I don't know what all those other terms people use for really long-term partners. Write appropriate title next to their name. Dates of the union is the next one. So write the beginning to present or the end. Indicate your state. Okay, the third is state of consciousness. Indicate your emotional, mental, and physical state during this union. Next, dietary state. What was your food and drink intake during this whole period? Feelings. What did you feel for them? What did they feel for you? How would you treat each other? Reflection. If you could, would you go back and pick up the pieces? Yes, no, or why? Purpose. What was the divine purpose of this union? Lessons. What lessons, challenges, blessings did you receive from the union? Have you released this relationship? Why or why not? Finally, we have at the bottom here, these questions help you identify and filter out some poisonous ideas and conditions that have influenced your thoughts and attitudes in relationships. So, reflections. 1, how do you feel about yourself right now? 2, how do you feel about men? Your father, brothers, sons, uncles, male friends, male coworkers. 3, how do you feel about women? Your mothers, sisters, daughters, aunts, female friends, female coworkers. After going on 7 to 21 day fast, write about your partner or your mate in detail. Do you mirror your own needs and expectations in a mate? If so, then everything is in place. If not, you need to get busy, do better, right? Because sometimes people be wanting all this stuff from a partner, but they're not actually putting all that into it, and they don't even realize. Raise your vibrations up to the level of the mate that you're calling forth. According to our ancient Nile Valley ancestors, the perfect union with self-mate or creator was termed Samataiwi, union of the double regions, that is, masculine and feminine, or left and right brains, heaven, Nut, and earth, Jeb. All right, so that we will start at Grandmother's Basic 4 next week. But I think that is a really good place to start. Maybe looking into see if you're actually doing all the things you're hoping for in a mate. Maybe connecting with your partner and seeing, how you both are doing as a duo, and then of course doing your visualization for your mate to be, if that is something that you are into. But yes, definitely work on your quilt, work on connecting with your sacred union, analyzing it, seeing where you're going with it, what you're hoping for from it, where you could be stepping up more in it, and see how it might be going better for you this week. Oh, and may your ancestors and spirit guides be with you at every crossroads. I will see you next Monday.